celebrating the world's most popular sport. This is Ultimate Soccer. And now your host, here's Soccer Steve.
Welcome in again, everybody. Now you've done Stoke City away, get ready for Cambridge away. Two different stories, way different stories. And why am I holding a screwdriver in my hand? That'll become apparent in this video that you're going to watch. When I stop talking, we're going to go into a little bit of a narration with pictures to explain the scene. It takes a little while, but it has to be explained. And once we get to the end of that video, I'm coming back on camera. I'm going to give you the explanations of the yellow line, the red X, the red zone, and the yellow zone. And it tells you what happens in the home end. And the specific things that Palace or away hooligans like to do, love to do, want to do when they go on the road. The first thing is to take a local pub. The second thing is to take the home end of the home fans stadium. You're going to watch some of that on this reel. Enjoy. I'll be back when it's over, and I'll be back with the answers to those questions I leave you with. Enjoy this. Cambridge away. I think by all accounts, everybody that's watched the Stoke City away is enjoying it because the numbers are telling us that. So big thanks to everybody there. Before we plough into this too far, big thanks to Lambie10, and get this other username, man. Guys, you've got to get this one. This is like really incredible. Get this. And big up to you, buddy. Big up and thanks for subscribing. But the handle is Pablo Walter White Escobar. I think that's just absolutely fantastic. I had a good grin on my face when I saw that name, and I really do love that handle, so big up to you, man. But welcome in. I'm glad everybody loved Stoke City away. Now we're doing Cambridge away. And believe you me, back in that Stoke City thing, I tell you, there was some edgy moments, especially on the train, yeah, 10-4. So we're going to get straight through to things very quickly on this one. Now, this time, Cambridge away, we didn't go on the train. You can get on the train if you want to, there's no problem. And a lot of Palace fans did on the day. And this is 1982, December 18, 1982. So if you wanted to get on the train, you could. But our mode of transport for the day was my big brother Marco's transit van, or as it was a Mark II Escort van, a commercial van, which wasn't very big, but that's what you're kind of looking at right now. And the funny thing is, as we're driving up the motorway, which is the highway here over in Canada, but as we're driving up the motorway, the M11 to Cambridge from London, the gear shifter comes off in his hand. Yeah, the gear stick literally comes off from the top of the gear shift, and it comes off in his hand, so we got no gear stick. So he sort of creeps off to the shoulder, and somehow he rams a screwdriver deep down in there somehow, and that's how he got us to the game. So big up for the screwdriver. That's why I'm waving a screwdriver around. And so anyway, I'm looking in the back of that thing. We got 10 guys in the back and 2 up front in the Dirty Dozen. So there's 12 of us moving, and basically we're moving from London to Cambridge in the back of that thing. And not a lot of space, but you know what? It's not that long a drive. So you get up there and away you go. Anyway, we're looking into Cambridge. We're getting into Cambridge, and Mark is like looking for a pub because all football fans want to have a few drinks before the game. It's just the way it is. Everybody likes to have something to eat, something to drink. So Mark's looking for a pub really close to the ground. He doesn't exactly know everything where he's going, but all of a sudden he pulls up near the floodlights to the stadium. And it's on a bend in the road. And right there is a pub. And he's like, oh yeah, this is great. Now, we get out the car, or the van, and shortly after, a couple of other Palace fans get out. And before you know it, there's about 20 or 30 Palace fans right outside this pub just before opening time. And there's not a soul around. It's like Cambridge is not a big, busy city. It's a very quiet little city. It's a scholars, learners, intelligent people city. Certainly not a hooligan place. Anyway, so there's nobody around, and the pub's just opening. So Mark and a whole load of guys he knows from Palace, because I'm like, I don't know any of these guys, but it's fun. everybody just pours into the pub, and before you know it, they're singing songs, and more Palace come, and these guys inside the pub are on their phones telling these guys where the pub is. Get here now, come on, quick. And before you knew it, the pub was filled with Palace fans, and the locals weren't too happy because they couldn't get in their own pub, and that was the Cambridge fans' home pub, and Palace had took it. So when you're talking specific things, that's one of the specific things that you hope to do, is like to take a pub if you're the away hooligan. Remember, I'm not. I'm just telling you the story. And they did. And the Cambridge fans had to be served outside their own pub in the car park behind the pub. Now that is one hell of a slap in the face if you're talking street creds, and away fans did what? Without one single punch? Really? And Cambridge had a few nasty boys as well, yeah? So 1-0 to the Palace for being so bloody cheeky on the day. So you found the pub, we got to the pub, have a few drinks, yada yada, and all of a sudden we're looking to get to the game. Now, it's not a long walk from the pub to the ground. It's literally, you walk out the pub door, you walk across the parking lot, and you're at the ground. And we got to the ground, and we get into the home end. And that's not exactly what I thought was going to happen. So when I told you last time I kind of like got caught out, it was because of getting caught out at the home end. I didn't really know that was going to happen. It did. Da-da. Now, looking at some of these diagrams and pictures that are coming up, you're going to see a yellow line. Okay. Oh, by the way, program of the day. That was the actual program of the day that you saw after the walk to the stadium, which, check out the floodlights, pretty cool, hey? But the program, or the game day program, not very great on the graphics, eh? Remember, it's 1982, but hey, I just thought I'd throw it in. But the next few pictures you see of the ground, they just actually indicate where we were, a fence, etc., and a line around the field. That white line in particular, keep that in mind. And then the other part of what I was about to say is that there's 3 other pictures that are going to come soon before I come back on camera. And the one is where you see the yellow lines and the X. Well, those yellow lines are indicating where that fence is. Now, there was a fence dividing the fans at Cambridge's end. And it's that fence I want to highlight, okay? Because that stops fans from either side attacking each other. Now, when I told you we went into the home end, well, where that red little X is, well, that was a space for about 30, 40 people, okay? Because your backs are against the wall behind that red X, and then you're also closed in by that fence that's then to your right. And all the other part of that end is purely Cambridge fans. Now, there's another diagram that shows clearly our location with the X, a red zone, and then a yellow zone. I'm going to explain that in a little while. And then the final picture, I'm going to explain that one too. So the pictures do some talking, but I thought I'd like to let you see some of that first, so that it gives you some description of what we're going through. So there's a little beginning and an explanation for where we're going. Now I'm going to get my lovely Casuals Umbro sports jacket on to show you for tonight's show, because it was from Umbro, donated from Umbro, given to me, and I was sponsored by Umbro. So tonight we're going to do the Umbro Casual shirt, and it was a shirt for the Casuals selection for that year, not so long ago. I think this one was from 2009. And it was a Casuals line for Umbro when they were pushing the original Umbro line. I think there's some really good stuff. I'm going to show you another jacket on the next show. It's got some amazing embroidery on the back. But anyway, coming back at you, I'm going to explain what you've seen on the pictures in person so you get some real detail. But there's some pictures for you to just have a look at. All right, coming up, that lovely Umbro jacket. Okay, now that you've got the story, now that you've got to the other side of the video, back to me. It's a case of the yellow line, that was the fence, you saw it. Now, that fence was right here to my right. That little red X, that's where we're standing in there, yeah? You've got all that. And you've also got it that there's a red zone here. Now, that red zone, I'm going to explain to you. As we were in there, the Palace start to sing. The Cambridge fans react with fear. because they're making a lot of noise, the Palace in that end, and the Cambridge fans are scared about the numbers. Because what they didn't know is Palace had some fans on the other side of that fence as vocal support to make it sound like there was an army in there instead of just a group of 40 nasties, yeah? So, the Palace fans start singing when Palace hit the field. Cambridge fans panic, they run. The Palace fans now start turning on them. And that red zone is the distance immediately when the Palace fans are singing. That red zone was the distance where nobody's standing. That's how far back Cambridge has retreated and ran from the Palace fans, right where we're standing. I am on the front line of the Hooligan line, facing off against the Hooligans of Cambridge. They came at us. There was a big battle, lots of punches, lots of kicks, lots of headbutts, bottles thrown, you name it, it was going on. Didn't see any darts on that day, but I'll tell you about the darts on another day. But it was a good old battle, and people were just wading into each other. The police came in, broke it up with baton rounds and everything they threw at us. And boy, I tell you, they literally stopped the fight. We were escorted out around the field by the police, down to the far end of the ground, where all the Palace fans were at the far end of the ground. When we got down there, I'm not kidding you, those fans gave us a hero's ovation, as if we'd done something magically brilliant. Now, you know what we did? We took their end, we took their pub. The difference is, the pub, there was no fighting in the pub. No fighting whatsoever. When their home end was taken, yeah, there was fighting going on. And it was pretty on the line. And it was pretty in your face. And a few smacks to the head were taken and a few smacks to the head were given. Everybody was in there. Everybody got some. Everybody gave some. Cambridge end was taken in literally 10 seconds. Over and done with. So Palace went there. They took the pub right outside the ground, which is the Cambridge fans' pub, and also minutes later took the Cambridge end. Those are the specific things that I was telling you about that football fans want to do, and Palace did it fantastically, absolutely fantastically. So, recapping, that last picture, the red zone, that's the distance between the Palace fans and the Cambridge fans. After the Palace fans started supporting the Palace vocally, the Cambridge fans panic, they ran away, the fight comes on, they get beaten back. They never come back to take their own end. They stay in the corner. The police stay in front of them. We get escorted out, down to the far end. Bob's your uncle. That's what happened. Same again. I tell you this. If the police hadn't have acted as fast as they did, it would have been a lot worse for the Cambridge fans, because there was more Palace coming in that end all the time, because the door had been opened by a Palace fan. So it was a little bit of great organisation. Everything on the cell phone. Remember, I told you, Palace fans are in the cell phone saying, get down here quick. The cell phone back in the day, not your smartphone, the cell phone back in the day was how everything was orchestrated. So, Palace on the road, take the pub, take the end, win the game, leave town, no one's in hospital, and everything got done exactly how they wanted it. So, Cambridge away, nothing nasty, but two things specifically were achieved. Taking the pub, and taking their end. And that is a golden away day. If you could do that anywhere, as a hooligan, you definitely achieved your aim. And no arrests. The cops didn't arrest anybody. They couldn't get anybody at all. So, hope you enjoyed that one. Get ready for Charlton away. Charlton away is by far the biggest one I'm going to bring to date. It's got everything in there and more. And there's even a story about yours truly on a Spanish beach. I've never been to Spain. And they're talking about me in Spain? Sounds a little interesting. I'll tell you about that story, but Charlton away coming up next. You don't want to miss it. Before we knock out, though, big thanks to Lamby10, or Lamby10. Get this name. Pablo, Walter, White, Escobar, Craig Goodwin, Paul Phillips, Lance Wildwood, Len O'Sullivan, all guys recently who subscribed. Keep it coming, guys. Keep subscribing, and let's take this channel to the next level. Charlton away's coming next, but as you see, Cambridge away, different story. Wasn't on the train, was in the van. How we got there with a screwdriver. I told you, why would you need a screwdriver to go to a soccer game? Well, we did on that day. Hope you enjoyed it. Come back for more Charlton away in a week's time. That is something very different, and I wouldn't want to miss that for all the tea in China. Okay, have a great week, everybody. Coming up next, we're going to be getting ready and turning our corner towards World Cup qualifying. Look for a 3-game synopsis coming up really quick. But hey, for now, Cambridge away. You've done 2 trips with me. Get ready for Charlton away. That's by far the meatiest the naughtiest, the scariest, and the nastiest trip I went on out of them 3. Get ready for charting away. It's coming next Sunday. Cheers.